I'm going to turn you over now to our live audience in Singapore and to our virtual audience from all around the world. Ando's coming at us from Tokyo. And I know he's been quite heavily involved with some of the projects and work that we've been doing within the Smart Maritime Network, and obviously within his own work prior to that, where he is at MTI, part of the NYK group. Ando himself will share a little bit more about what he's doing. I'm going to head off, and Ando, I'm going to pass the floor over to you. Thank you very much, and if you could share your screen.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kathy, for your kind introduction. And I will try to share my screen. Wait a moment. Kathy, can you see my screen? Hope. Yes. Then I would like to start. It's okay. Okay. My name is Ando from MTI. It's a part of NYK group. And today I will make a presentation about an update on Smart Ship Application Platform project, which is actually a project we are conducting mainly in Japan. And I'm playing the role of chairman of the project. So it's my honor and I to make presentation in this opportunity, and I really appreciate, especially Rob and Kathy and all sponsors and also participants. So firstly, this is actually the image or to describe a vision where the data sharing in the maritime industry. We, MTI, is part of a shipping company, but not only shipping company, but other stakeholders in the value chains or supply chain have interests in ship data, especially in nowadays we are in the era of digitalization, including IoT and big data. And the shipping, of course, we can utilize the ship data, and shipyards, manufacturers, they also have interest in the ship data in terms of like the performance of the ship, or in terms of the performance equipment and the machineries, and also conditions for preventive maintenance and so on. And in addition to that, class societies, insurance companies, regulatory, those and also others have interest in the ship data. So we need some sort of open platform, and where we can, by using technology, we can share data. And also we need some rules of the data sharing. So that is what we call open platform. This is a diagram we draw. Actually, it was 2014, so almost 7 years ago. That because of the some characteristic of ship, actually we have to rely on the satellite communication. That is a big the biggest difference when we compare our industry with land-based industries. So everybody have to rely on satellite communications. But the resources, the bandwidth of the communication is limited. So actually, we definitely we have to cooperate to utilize the limited resources. So we need to cooperate, especially ship data transferring between ship and shore. So we consider at that time that the left side is describe the ship and the right side describes shore. But I know many players, of course, would like to access the data. But if everybody, does similar approach, then there are multiple data collection computer on board, and they are sending similar data from ship to shore, and then they will kill the bandwidth and so on. And then that was 2012. We discussed with many stakeholders, and we decided that shall we work together to consider this data collection and data transmission to shore, and data hosting at the shore should be the place for collaboration. But of course, data utilization, like data analysis, or using the data for services, that is more competitive part. So, and also on board, of course, there are several applications to utilize data. So this is another area of competition. So, but then if we have kind of same platform, and then to gather, collect, transmit, and share data, like drawn in this figure, then probably we maritime industry players or stakeholders can access the data in the same in some sort of common understanding. That was kind of the platform to achieve the vision which I mentioned earlier. And after we draw that kind of concept, actually we work together with several stakeholders, and we have worked to make some standards to achieve that platform. The first one is actually shipboard data server to collect data. What that is now ISO 19847, which is about the specification of shipboard data server. And also we developed 19848, which is a specification of data model and also dictionary and format. And addition to that, right now we are working on the ship-shore general requirements for asynchronous ship-shore data communication. That is ISO NYK item proposal 23807. And then actually this ISO 16425 was established as a standard in 2013. That was also initiated by a Japanese group, which is guidelines for installation of ship communication network. To utilize like Ethernet on board. But now we are revising this standard also, because it's after 8 years, actually after about 10 years, actually the requirement has been, the situation has changed. So there are some additional requirements for shipboard network. So those are the main areas we are working on to make standards. So this SSAP, which is an acronym of Smart Ship Application Platform, the phase 3 project had been conducted since October 2018 until September last year. And 56 organizations participated, and which is a research project in Japan Ship Machinery and Equipment Association. And there are several action items. Actually, in this project, it's very functional project. So we set up several working to follow up each ISO standards, which I described. And also like additional requirements, such as like cybersecurity, was part of the working group. And in Japan, the JSTRA is the official representative of Japan in ISO TC8. So we work together with this entity. From here, I will explain a little bit about some technical details about what we have worked in the last 2 years, and the updates of the standards we are now proposing. Actually, this is it is a new work item. This is actually revising process in the revision process of 19847. So it's a new work. Still, it's a new work item proposal. So it's not fixed yet. So it's now it is in the process of revising. So we welcome any feedback, comments to improve these standards. That is our status at this moment. But so far, for instance, we added like a Modbus TCP as the input for shipboard data server, and also we updated test requirements or test how to test that this data server box can meet the requirements. Also, like update data calculation functions. We are processing the raw data by using some functions. And also this box itself, this is sort of like IoT gateway. Normally input side is OT, operation technology, and output side is IT, information technology. So it's a bridging box. So this is IoT gateway, so-called. So this could be, if it's vulnerable, then it's not good in terms of cybersecurity. So we need some enhancement to make it harden in terms of cybersecurity. So we will add cybersecurity requirements on the box. And this is the one update about ISO 19848 standard codebook and standard IDs. And for instance, actually, in the original version in 2018, actually detailed dictionaries were not described in appendix. But we since last 1-2 years, we have worked to create it's not finalized, but we developed describe more detail about this dictionary. So we added the detailed dictionaries in the current version, and also the name of standard ID was added. Actually, now our group in Japan are working on several dictionaries in Japan, and also DNVGL is also working in their way in Europe. But now, actually, we have now cross communication, and probably it's a lot of overlap. And in the next standards, that is the status of the process. And also in the same standard, another view. This is what we call the data naming framework. Well, the left side is like a navigation or other system on board, and there are some standards like IEC 61162, and then data collection box, and other system like machinery. We have this standard. So here is data collection box again. And now we added this the standard IDs and some code book describing dictionaries. And actually, this is the raw data side or processed data side. But on the other hand, there are some application services such as like performance analysis or condition monitoring, and then there are several competing applications. Like A company developed their performance monitoring, and the B company provide another similar performance monitoring. But those companies can agree on actually which data and which frequency they need. So based on that kind of a discussion, we define so-called the data catalog, and the data catalog, each data catalog corresponds to group of the services. So probably this data catalog 1 can be applied to any performance analysis service. The data catalog 2 could be applied to any engine condition monitoring, diesel engine and condition monitoring service or something like that. So we added the concept of this data catalog in the standard. And now the current current version of codebook, standard ID, and the data catalog are downloadable from our web page. So if you have interest, please check them. And this is another one, 16425. It's a guideline for installation of ship communication network on board Ethernet. And this is actually the original figure described in the version of 2013. However, this original network diagram is now under revision to be consistent with other ISO and IEC standards. That is now under discussion. And similarly, in the same standards, actually, now we actually observe more and more Ethernet. We observe more and more usage of Ethernet on board. And we actually, our shipyards and also our equipment manufacturers have encountered a lot of troubles relating to the Ethernet. Like, for instance, it's consists of course, as you're aware, like the router and then the hub and also switch and the Ethernet cable and then so on. So some cases, because of the network trouble, the whole system may not function. That kind of things often happen. So we studied the last such incidents relating to the network, and then we identify how that could be avoided. So that kind of lessons learned reflected in the process of the system integration, which means like we need to consider the process of the design and also implementation and operation, the life cycle of the network system, and at which stage, how can we prevent such kind of the incidents? That is actually the way of thinking, and we try to implement best practices to avoid such incidents at each stage. So we defined what kind of inputs are necessary and what could be output at each phase. And those are the details of those checklists or requirements will be described in this the new 16425 standards. And this is another one, working draft to 3807. That is actually under drafting, and this actually it will be circulated probably within this week. So we just finished the drafting. And then this is the scope of this is a ship-shore data communication, which is the scope is actually this standards will define like asynchronous communication method to measure end-to-end communication quality, transport integrity, transport security, encryption, authentication, authorization, and the management of transmission, prioritization, logging, and so on, carrier awareness management, and communication optimization, deduplication, compression regime, multiplexing, and compliance with the standard ISO 19847, but not limited to that one. But anyhow, and those are the scope of this standard, but it will not cover the security of the data producer, consumer, communication equipment requirements, carrier performance requirements. Those performance requirements are out of the scope. But anyhow, this working draft is now just finished, and it will be circulated to the experts, and that will be actually discussed in ISO TC8 working group, ship-shore data communication panel. Actually, myself is a chair of this panel. And the next meeting, online meeting, will be held February or March this year. So it will be soon. So if you have interest, please register yourself, and then to, I think the formal procedure, you need to consult with your each nation's official agent about this ISO TC8. But anyhow, we welcome anybody's participation. And working draft schedule is the shipshore asynchronous data communication is actually, we originally intended to finish the drafting until the end of last year, but actually it's delayed. So we plan to finish. We plan to circulate in this week. And for other 3 standards, onboard network, onboard data server, and data model format, actually the target will be the end of March this year. So that time, the working draft hopefully will be ready. So then the experts, we will ask experts, relevant experts to review the working draft and feedback to us. Then actually, we will have probably June or July, we will have a working group to discuss about the contents. That is a formal way, but of course, informally, if you have interest, please contact us, then we can discuss how we're going to communicate. So, so this is a formal process, but ISO working group to discuss those standards is like there are actually 3 relevant working groups. Actually, ISO TC8 working group 10, smart shipping. This is always we exchange information. So there are several subjects, including our proposing ones. But this is normally every 6 months we have, but that's in this the situation, under this situation, it be a little bit not the next meeting is not yet fixed, but in general we exchange our progress updates in this working group. And for shipshore communication panel under working group 10, we discuss with experts about ISO 23807. And as I mentioned earlier, next meeting will be February or March of this year. And another standards, 19847, 19848, 16425, which we initiating, we take initiative, will be discussed in the ISO TC8 SC subcommittee 6 and working group 16, which ship communication network systems. And next meeting will be May or June or July, sometime this year. We will discuss. So your contribution to the working groups and ISO standard, we highly appreciate it. And yes, actually, the last meeting, last SSAP project finished last year September, and after discussion, then we decided to continue the next phase. So now we just started SSAP4 project. Actually, the first meeting was held just last week. And now 3 other members additionally participated. We have now 59 organizations, and then there are several action items. And already I explained about the 4 standards, but addition to that, we set up a common issue study working group, and then we can more flexibly set up some special interest group, SIGs, under this one. Then we will gather interests issues from industries, and then if we can have some commonality, then we will set up some SIGs here. And this is an organizational chart of this project. And actually, there are all members. I'm a chairman, and the secretary, Hara-san, is from Furuno. Actually, and then there are steering committee and the public relations, international correspondent function is here. And then here there are 5 working groups. And under common issue study working group, there are several SIGs actually. And actually, for instance, this ISO 19848, the leader is Ashida-san. Actually, next speaker, he from MOL is the leader of this working group, and each working group has leader and sub-leaders, and then they are working to follow up each working item. And this is, I took the picture from our Smart Maritime Network webpage, but we really appreciate the cooperation and support by Smart Maritime Council. That this is about they showed support for our proposing standard ISO 19848, which is about data model and dictionary and format. And yes, cooperation with SMC and SMN is on our agenda of this SAP4. And especially, please keep communication, especially for how to include Voyage data model and the dictionary in the next ISO 19848, which is actually proposed by the group, SMC group. Then, yeah, we very much appreciate to keep good communication about this subject. So, and addition to the ISO standards and so on, the shore side, actually, Class NK are now hosting a ship data center, which is the 100% owned by Class NK. But and then they are also, that ship data center, hosting another consortium called Internet of Ships Open Platform. And here, another 56 members, which is a bit different members from SSAP, but it includes like insurance company and like business business firms and so on. So, but more and more like a business domain. And then actually, to achieve the industry-wide data sharing open platform, definitely we need the common understanding or common rule about like data ownership, and also like data usage rule. So here we define stakeholders' role, data ownership rule, transparent and fair data sharing rule. So we need this kind of a common rule to accelerate data-driven innovation. So that's in iOS OP. They have established the rules to enjoy this kind of data sharing game. So this is the last one. Summary. I explained update on Smart Ship application platform project, and as I introduced, SSAP is working on the following 4 ISOs, and we appreciate and we hope that to cooperate with SMC, and that is on the agenda of our next phase of the project. And addition to SSAP, data governance issue, including data ownership, is discussed in SHIP DC and iOS OP. So yeah, I put some annex in the, but because of the time is limited of time, I finish my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ando-san. Before you disappear, we do have a couple of questions.
Yep.
And I should let everybody know who is watching. Obviously, there was quite a lot of information in that presentation that will be available, as will all the presentations and videos from today. They will all be sent to you all in due course. So you'll be able to follow up on Ando's presentation and have a look at it in more detail after this. Before you go, Ando-san, we have a question for you here. You might be able to see it yourself. How many vessels among Japan's big 3 of NYK, MOL and K-Line and now collecting data in a common standard format? And on a practical level, has data harmonization actually already occurred among these companies, or is that still to come in the future? And then another question, 3 rolled into one here. Could a software company create an application for one of these companies that would also work with a standard data set from another company?
Yes, Cassie, thank you very much for your question. Well, first one, the number of the data collection, number of the ships which collect the data following the standards. Actually, I think MOL, K-Line, NYK, we are rather probably early adapter or to focus on the ship data, and also we started actually data collection in 2000 in NYK case 2008 we started to install data collection box. That time actually there was no supplier, so we developed by ourselves data collection system from navigation side and machine side and so on. But anyhow, that was already 12 or 13 years ago. And then, of course, it's in Japan, so we can the activity of another competitor can be a bit visible. So actually, K-Line has their way of data collection, and MOL has their way of data collection. So still, well, honestly speaking, they are collecting data by their system, and then of course working with some partner. And then after, actually, in the sense, the type of data and the variety of data we are collecting are actually quite similar, but the data collection book itself have not yet following the standard. So actually, in our case, actually in our next generation data collection box, we will use the ISO box. But the current box which we use now is not comply with the ISO box. It's gradually shifting to ISO compliance box. But anyhow, this is the software thing. So already data is there. I mean, which is similar or equal to the ISO defined data set. So actually, data conversion is not very complex. So actually, right now, how it goes is like we store data in the ship data center, and the ship data center convert to comply with ISO standards. So that's how we can access ISO standards data. So that is the answer to your first question. And then, sorry,
just to interrupt you, Ando, would you mind stopping your screen share just so people can see you a bit more clearly? There we go, thank you.
Sorry, it's a little bit noisy right now. Yeah,
you're fine on this side.
Yeah, it's better. Cassie, sorry, I forgot the second question. Could you mention briefly?
So the second bit of the question was on a practical level, has data harmonization actually occurred among these companies, or is that still in the future?
Yeah, I think it depends on the company, but if I know detail about the NYK. Of course, I'm from NYK. So, but well, actually, for instance, NYK case on 200 vessels, we are collecting detailed data from 200 ships, and that data is now on daily basis used, especially for like to find some abnormal situation of engine room and so on. So we want it to be a card, but still I think there are room that we need to improve. That is the status.
Okay, thank you. And in the interest of time, we'll finish this last bit of the question off. Could a software company create an application for one of these companies, and would it also work with a standard data set from another company?
Of course.
Good, simple answer. Great.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you so much. I'm sorry that we have to end that there. I know we could keep talking. But Ando-san, thank you so much for joining us live or digital even from Tokyo. We're looking forward, we hope, to being back in Tokyo with Smart Maritime Network in August, if not before. So fingers crossed for that.
Yeah.
But very nice to see you. And for now, we'll say thank you and enjoy the rest of your afternoon in Japan.
Thank you very much, Kathy, and all. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Ando-san. Take care.